Will a dramatic rate cut be the secret trigger for the next bull market? And how could you profit from the twist insiders didn't see coming? Stay tuned as Wilson walks you through his bold cycle call, his contrarian bets, and the hidden signal most investors are missing. Don't miss the part that could flip your portfolio.
It shows very clearly that there was a spike in layoffs, and there was a low in all the jobs creation, which revisions now are proving. And the stock market figured this out. The stock market's smarter than all of us, and the confirmation for us is that the earnings revisions now have really exploded higher in a way they only do in a new economic cycle.
That's what I think is so interesting. David Solomon was here just a little bit ago, and he called this late cycle. You think we're still early cycle?
Well, I think we just transitioned. Yeah. Now, where I think I also have been differing is that the cycles aren't going to last that long. Right, we're now in an inflationary regime. It's very different than all of our careers where inflation was coming down. And what that means is that these cycles can't be elongated the way that they were because the Fed has to respond ultimately to higher inflation. Think about the last 5 years. 2 years on, 2020, 2021, 1 year off, had a nice recovery in 23, 24. Then we had another kind of capitulation recession in this year. And now we're into a new 2-year cycle. So you just got to keep that in the back of your mind.
That's not that different than what he was saying then. What David Solomon was saying, we're late cycle, this could have another year or two to run.
That's right. But I think that context is important to distinguish, because if it's late cycle, then you only want to own sort of defensive, high quality names. In an early cycle new recovery, the market will expand. It will broaden out. And that's kind of what's starting to happen now. We think that's the story for 26. It looks a lot like 21 in that regard.
What do you like?
Well, we like a barbell at the moment because we still think the Fed needs to cut rates. So we've been on the cyclical side. We have liked a lot of the tech sector. We have liked financials. We have liked industrials. That's the pro side on the cyclical side. And then the defensive high quality side, it's basically healthcare right now. We think healthcare looks quite interesting. Now, we do think the Fed will get with the program and they will start cutting rates in a more meaningful way once the labor data confirms what we all know, which is that the labor market's not that good. And when that happens, then we can really transition to the interest rate sensitive parts of the market that have been languishing, things like housing, things like consumer goods, all the durable goods, the areas where there's pent-up demand.
How difficult is it to not have government data at this point? Yeah, because you sound so sure in your beliefs on these things.
Well, I think the government data that we're waiting for, everybody's waiting for, is mostly the jobs data, but that's backward looking. I think we've already confirmed that the trough was in April. That doesn't mean, by the way, we're totally out of the woods. But what it means is that I don't think we're going to learn a whole lot from this data that we're not seeing at the moment. I think it gives comfort. I think it will give the Fed the cover to do what I think they need to do, which is cut rates in a more meaningful way. So to me, that's the risk, is that we don't get the data that allows the Fed to cut more meaningfully.
And when you say more meaningfully, you're talking about more than 25 basis points at a clip?
Exactly. Let me just put it in context. So the Fed is behind the curve, in my view, until they get lower than 2-year Treasury yields.
Okay.
Today it's about 75, 85 basis points. So that's just 3 cuts to get to neutral. To get ahead of the curve, they probably got to cut 150 plus. And the only way they're going to do that is if we get weaker labor data, which I think is probably forthcoming, or we get some sort of bond volatility or financial stress, the third mandate, if you will.
All of your thoughts about the market continuing to climb from here, what would happen if we do get some of that bond market turmoil that you're talking about, or tensions continue on this China trade front? Because that's been the macro issue that has made markets wobble recently.
Yeah, so I want to distinguish. Our 12-month view is quite constructive for the reasons I just laid out. But in a short-term basis, this is probably the first time since April that I think we have maybe a tradable correction. And it would be those 3 things you mentioned. First, the China-U.S. trade tensions. We're kind of walking towards this deadline. The markets may get nervous around that. And by the way, it's a correction. It's not like we're going back to where we were in April. But a 10% correction would feel pretty nasty. The second reason would be we get funding market stress, which, by the way, the Chair Powell talked about last week. That's one of the reasons why we may, end QT a little bit earlier next year, because we're starting to see a little bit of funding stress, which is essentially the bank reserves are maybe a little bit too low for the liquidity we need, not just for the financial markets, but now for this economy, which I think it could be booming next year. So those are 2 reasons I think we could see some corrective activity in the near term. I don't think it derails our core view on the rolling recovery.
It's nice you said all of us have spent our entire careers in a low inflation environment. It was nice that you
One exception.
It's nice that you threw me in there. And just to, because it's hard to believe, inflation rate, right when I started in the business, 13.5%.
Oh.
Inflation rate, 13.5%. Unemployment, 9.5%.
Wow.
And what was
9.5%.
like a 30-year mortgage?
Prime rate went to 21.5%. and the 30-year mortgage was 15 or 16. No one was ever going to buy another home. And I was lucky enough, we at Merrill Lynch were lucky enough to design a product where you, instead of getting 13.5 tax-free municipals, we did a floating rate thing.
There you go.
Instead of locking that in, we put people in, hey, you don't have to worry. It wasn't going up from 13.5. That was the time, but
30-year zero coupons, what you wanted to buy.
Exactly.
That's what my mom was pitching.
Because they're not, you couldn't call them. Because
That's right.
yeah, exactly. They weren't callable. Yeah, but when you think about things being bad, think of 13.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't.
that's like almost speaking of Argentina, that's like a South American type inflation rate.
But I think it's important to distinguish, like, inflation is not bad for stocks, okay, because it creates earnings growth. It's just different.
Yeah.
And
It's
if you think,
painful for everybody living through it, though.
well, it's painful for the consumer, right? And that's why we have this bifurcated economy. But don't fear inflation next year. In fact, if we don't get inflation next year, I'll probably get more bearish, because that means the earnings story is probably not going to deliver on what people are expecting.
You are really contrarian on all these things. We tell people some of the stuff you say, and they go, that's insane.
That's good. That makes me feel better, quite frankly.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, you're right about the earnings revisions, that you're early.
Yeah. And that's a leading indicator. So we know that next year's numbers are going to be quite good. And once again, one of the key risks to that is that we don't get inflation. We don't get the CapEx boom that they're kind of gearing for, that we need that. And then inflation becomes a problem in these cycles when the Fed has to respond. And they're not in that mode right now, right? They're going to let it run hot intentionally. But eventually that probably will come back.
They move the goalposts.
That's right. Well, not until they move the goalposts, until it becomes a constraining factor in the economy.
Exactly. Okay.